Sculpting's latest feature film, Braindead. And if you know anything about his movies, you may prefer to delay lunch for about 20 minutes. Braindead's a New Zealand film shot in Wellington, and this week it's on its way to the Cannes Film Festival. It's a cheerfully gory film with blood and guts that'll rival any New Zealand freezing works. But Braindead contradicts the normal image of a splatter movie, and all because of the artistry of special effects man Richard Taylor. He's about to show us how Kiwi ingenuity can bring death to life.
It's 6:30 in the morning. Richard Taylor and Tanya Roger have just spent a long and grueling night in a Wellington graveyard.
Well, would you like a cup of tea before you go to bed?
No, I'm too tired.
Okay, well, I'll just clean up and I'll be there in a minute.
Actually, there's nothing murderous or even sinister about what they've been doing. At just 26 years old, Richard Taylor heads a team of 10 model makers building special effects for the feature film Braindead. It's a splatter movie that needs an abundant supply of amputated limbs and liters of fake blood, plenty of gore and body bits. While blood and gore may appeal to only a few, without realizing it, New Zealand audiences have been enjoying Taylor's work for years.
What a sucker.
From the broom cupboard, his vacuum cleaner sprang into life.
Smells, food smells, and the dog smells.
On Saturday nights, the Lotto dancers once performed in front of his familiar giant yellow sun.
Oh yes, hello, look, it seems I didn't explain myself too clearly last.
For the Devondale milk commercial, he dabbled in livestock. And when the advertising agency wanted a robot for General Motors, Taylor and his crew brought it to life.
They also know.
Hey, Dad, can I borrow the car?
Some things will never change.
I want to be on the hot seat.
New Zealand's politicians also got the Taylor treatment in the television show Public Eye. But for the past few months, Taylor's been concentrating on Braindead, the biggest special effects movie to be made in New Zealand. It's a splatter movie with some loving touches.
More than anything, Braindead is a love story between two people that are a little out of sorts in their environment. Lionel, a little bit henpecked by his mother, and Paquita, a little foreign in New Zealand. And the two of them come together. Unfortunately, everything runs amok around them, and all hell breaks loose, basically, when Mum turns into a zombie. You know, obviously there's a lot of splatter in it and a lot of humour, but when it comes down to it, I think that's probably what it's mostly about. A very, very touching story, really.
Also bringing this touching story to life is director Peter Jackson. Jackson's already well known overseas for his first low-budget movie, Bad Taste. On that film, He built most of the effects himself, so he's familiar with the demands of model making.
No, that's good. Excellent.
It takes teamwork, and already Taylor and Jackson have spent months planning every detail.
Okay, so
Each sequence was drawn onto a storyboard, and all special effects fully discussed.
What we're intending on doing at the moment is try to have one quite elaborate puppet that will fully articulate. But because he's playing such a major part in the movie, we think at the moment we're probably going to be needing more than one to do the various things.
Yeah. Well, I still reckon that you know, we should go for a kid in a suit, but only on very, very limited occasions.
Yeah.
Because you're never going to get somebody this small. I mean, you know, Selwyn's like going to be about this big, eh?
The other consideration, of course, is trying to get facial expression. This idea of yours of sculpting up these various heads.
Yeah. Well, it's the easiest way around, because it's, if we do a smiling head and a like a crying head, then those are two extremes that you're never going to be able to get by pulling on the cables.
No.
Big films with small budgets mean careful planning.
Planning and trusting each other, you know, and knowing exactly what you're doing. I mean, he knows how I'm going to shoot these effects because I explain it to them, and I know how he's going to build them because he explains them to me, and we, you know, that's a very close relationship.
One of BRAINDEAD's main characters is a small zombie named Selwyn, a grotesque baby played almost entirely by a puppet.
But maybe
Selwyn will have to perform full-body stunts and also behave like a real-life laughing and crying infant. Taylor decides the best way to bring baby Selwyn to life is to sculpt him in foam latex.
the thing about foam is, although it is very, very flexible, it still doesn't. It is still unable to pull the same range of features that a human actor's face can pull. It'll move and twist a little, but to get a full array of emotions for the baby to express, we needed to sculpture the three different heads: a crying head, a standard head, which is that one there, and also a giggling head, which is this one here, this bag. We've also created 3 solid heads that will be used for all the stunt dummy shots. Whenever we want baby Selwyn to do things that may damage the puppet, we'll substitute it for one of these solid, more robust versions.
Close-ups of little Selwyn are important in the film. In the zombie baby's opening scene, Jackson needs the puppet to look right and left and blink his eyes. It means designing a latex skin for a fiberglass skull. The skull will contain the mechanisms for controlling each eye movement, and that's a job for the articulation experts. In similar workshops overseas, model makers use expensive high-tech cabling, but the BRAINDEAD budget won't stretch to that. Cheap and quick alternatives must be found. So, with typical Kiwi ingenuity and lengths of white curtain track, Selwyn's eyes will do the right thing.
New Zealand model making tends to rely much more on ingenuity, I think, than I imagine it would overseas. We have not got the range of materials or equipment or an easy supply of chemicals and such like. So you've got to find alternatives. Therefore, you find that you become a lot more innovative, and it's that I particularly enjoy here. You know, where a number piece of fencing wire might do, that's what you use.
Ingenious, innovative, original, but will it stand up to the rigors of filming? Richard Taylor's on the set to make sure it does.
I like to try and take any effect or any job that I do right through to the shooting of it in front of camera.
Well, he's sort of upside down, he's squirming, and he's had his legs bent down, he's sort of stretching them out.
You can spend $1 million on an effect, and if it's not tweaked or dressed in exactly the right way, for that last second before the camera rolls, you might as well not bothered. You could ruin a really good, expensive effect by applying blood in the wrong place, covering the expressions, not pulling the cables right, having it puppeteered in the wrong way. So yes, I like to get onto set as much as possible.
Roll. Speed. Action.
And if Selwyn's performance gets the nod from Jackson, it'll go into the film.
We actually signed up all the joints except.
Getting puppets to behave on the set is tricky enough. Taylor's model makers must also work on location. A night shoot in the local graveyard and some solid slogging from the team.
Alan, let go, Bo.
You know, it's no worse or no better than most times, but it was one of the nights was particularly damp, and we had one of our crudest effects, which ended up looking quite good on the film.
Richard, we're just going to go, we're going to put in the camera here, and we want you guys to get yourselves down on this little alleyway over here. Or somewhere over there, and like, just hurl the dummy towards us, all right? Okay. Now, it's going to go vaguely right to left in terms of the camera. So the camera's down here, so you're there and you're hurtling it over.
Face or back?
It'll be back. It'll be sort of how you've thrown it before, really. With the face, you mean? You can't see the face.
Not the chest.
Oh, no, we're going to see the chest on the real actor in a minute, though, when he rolls it. But, I mean, the thing is, you should crouch him up. He should be in a bit more of a crouching position.
To make puppets look real, you've got to make them very heavy. Humans are extremely heavy for their size. So trying to toss a close to a human-weighted puppet many metres can get a little tiring.
Get up the hill with it.
And around behind those trees.
3, 2, 4, take 3.
Rolling. And action. Rolling. And 2, 3.
Peter will keep calling for it till he gets it right, and you know you've just got to keep going until it works out.
And hurl him in such a way that he does ends up going head first down there.
Into the other shot.
All right, sort of roughly.
So that's just one of those things, I guess.
And roll. Action.
Hours of back-breaking effort again and again, and all for just 4 seconds on screen. Though it is only a few seconds of screen time, it has to be exactly right, and that takes time, on location and back in the workshop. Today, several model makers joined forces to cast actor George Port's head. In the film, George's character Lawrence has his head severed. It's a complicated effect, and in preparation, the actor's head's been covered with a cap, greased with Vaseline to stop his hair sticking to the mold. Taylor briefs him on the expression he wants and what to expect in the minutes ahead.
Okay, now open them and have a look at that. Okay. Now, because you'll be in the ocean so long and you've got your mouth open so long, it's like at the dentist, a lot of saliva will start to build up in your mouth. So you just have to try and swallow it as best you can. Once we've actually got the alginate on and it's gone off, you can lean forward a little bit and let it just drain out of the centre of your mouth if you feel as though you're going to choke on it.
The team's battling against time, and nothing must go wrong. Taylor has made this cast before, several months ago, but the actor pulled out, and that meant starting all over again. One mistake now, and they won't meet the filming deadline. As soon as the actor is ready, the pink alginate is mixed with water, and it's all systems go. They must work quickly. The pink mixture will start setting straight away, and the actor must remain calm and still.
Big dollop on the top of your head first. That's what. That's good. Good mix. Now remembering, that's right, keep your eyes closed from now on. A lot of people do suffer from claustrophobia. Spread underneath. So I've tried to devise a technique to talk to them. Working down over your eyes, George. To have the room suddenly go quiet is the worst possible thing, because if people go quiet, it means that maybe something's wrong. That you can reach your face with your hands if you need to. You've got to take it very seriously, because it is a very serious process, but to keep it as light as possible. At no time should the person be concerned. You're the one that should be concerned. They shouldn't. They should be able to relax. A lot of people find it very, very soothing. Here we go. Okay, I'm going to make sure that I've got your top lip perfectly formed in the alginate. So I'm just going to work it in. Opening your mouth a little bit more, George. That's it. Great. Okay, we're just going to let that go off fully. Take about another 15 seconds, then we're going to start applying the plaster bandage. Okay, we're starting the first plaster bandage, George. Up underneath your chin. Now your feel is pushing it around quite a bit. We want to work the plaster bandage down well into all the contours of the alginate. Go round and round your head a couple of times. Okay, you guys want to start pulling the seam line up. Okay, just working around the bottom of your mouth. I'm afraid you just have to calmly sit there for another minute or so while it goes off. Okay, working around the back of your head now. Good. Peter's just turned up for a laugh.
How are you, George? Looking good, mate.
So we're going to very, very carefully work the back off now.
And once the plaster's hardened, it's split in two, then rejoined to produce a mould.
So we're going to cut an S curve into the slot in the back so that the alginate will fall back into place in the mould. Okay, you can start pulling your face as dramatically as possible, getting the muscles of your face to release from the alginate now. So really pull, pulling your lips back, scrunching your eyes up, trying to wiggle your ears a little bit. Here we go, we're going to part the alginate at the back. We want you to tip your head and body forward a bit. That's it. Leaning right forward. That's it. Here we go.
Suck in.
For a full 20 minutes, George Port's face hasn't moved from its shocked expression.
Right of it. And it's spot on. Jolly good. Now we'll just have to leave you for
Looks just like me.
Yeah. Well, we'll quickly just...
A quick check, and Taylor whips the mould away to clean the inside surface. Then it must be braced, ready to be lined with melted plasticine.
Just half, huh?
Just half.
Just half.
Yep, keep going, keep going. Sorry. Keep going. Yep. And oh, yep. Yep, terrific.
The whole head cast will be left overnight, allowing the plasticine to set slowly.
Bog those up, that'll be good. Looks pretty good.
Well, the mould's been destroyed, but the cast's looking fine. Then it's straight off for some additional sculpting. The eyes will be opened up and any lines smoothed out. Next comes a series of positive and negative moulds of the head using clay, first on one side and then on the other. After that, both halves will be cast in stronger dental stone. And after several castings, the head is now in its final form. But it's still not finished. Outside, the surface is pliable foam latex. Underneath, there's hollow fiberglass for strength and support. In the wig department, makeup artist Deborah East has been working frantically. Another head needs a hairpiece, and she must punch individual strands into the latex to get a natural hairline. Lawrence's head will be next to get hair. It's taken 9 days and the dummy head is now almost completed. Richard Taylor attends to the finishing touches, details like eyelashes that'll make all the difference to the close-up shots. Shooting day, and the live George Port is having latex added to his face. The final effect on film will be one of a head severed through the mouth.
So, do you think we should... You happy with the action last time? Yeah,
The workshop crew is on hand with the dummy head, while its matching actor, George Bolt, manoeuvres into position under a purpose-built piece of studio floor. Confined by a specially cut tile, George must move and react as if his newly severed head is still alive. And that dummy head, well, it's now also ready for an even more active role.
Ideally nose to nose, even a little bit closer. Here comes George. It's good, it's good. And you can just do a big scream as the thing carts to a halt.
Come on, everybody! Shooting!
984-3.
Action!
No, leave me! No! Oh, no!
Once more, pick up. Are you turning there for time? Billy!
A little bit closer, Richard, if you can.
And action!
No! No! Oh, oh, leave me! No! Oh, 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 oh,
And that was a take.
oh, leave me!
With the dust hardly settled on the studio floor, Richard Taylor's back in the workshop again, preparing for yet another special effect. He's making the most of the brain dead experience. Jobs like this don't come along every day.
it's very difficult to make a good living out of model making here in New Zealand. Over the last couple of years, a lot more people have got involved in it. So obviously, as each person gets involved, but gets that little less work, it's very dependent on how hard you're willing to work. If you're willing to put in very long hours and work with a great deal of enthusiasm for the business, then yes, you can make a living. But it's getting harder. Yeah, when I first started, it was I just couldn't keep up with the amount of work that I had. But now it's getting a lot harder to find work.
To date, the master model maker's future is a bit uncertain. Richard Taylor may have to go overseas. Peter Jackson hopes he won't.
Well, I mean, if Richard went overseas, he'd be able to compete incredibly well with all the top special effects guys in America. I mean, I hope he doesn't, because I'll probably need him for some of my films in the future.
Dream Factory, the home of spectacles.